skyrocketed. So a $600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk. We're live Tuesday evening, the 19th day of the month of February, and looking forward to finding out what's on your mind this evening. And so my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk and Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. And so it's been a couple days since I've been able to live stream. So looking forward to getting caught back up with the community and seeing what's going on and let you in on what's been going on my end and things of that nature. So as always, give it a second before I begin chit-chatting and getting your thoughts on some of the prior videos before this evening. And then more importantly, talk about some of the most recent events that I've come across, as well as find out what else might have come across your radars that you want to discuss this evening. So as always, there's a number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. That's for you to call in and to let your voice be heard, as well as this chat right over here on my shoulder. Let me know where you're watching from. We'd love to give you a shout out and welcome you to the chat. And more importantly, if there's any new viewers, let me know where you're watching from. We'd love to welcome you directly and give you a shout out as well. So let me check in with the chat and see who's joining us thus far. So we got Student of Life, Philman, Busy Mountain, says depressed about and excited about prices at the same time. I want to see the big pumps, the big jumps. Busy Mountain, be patient, my friend. I believe it's coming. It says, Jadarius says, hey, Mike, how you doing? It says, better for normal people, I suppose. Philman says, question, can you rebuild an article where they gave 10 reasons why the economy won't collapse? Google economy won't collapse. Okay, Philman says, so Google why the economy won't collapse, and I'll get those 10 reasons. I'll do that. Close Effects, hi, everyone. Jadarius from Boston, Spirit King, how you doing? So, with that being the case, let's dive right into a topic that I wanted to cover based upon an article that I came across. Actually, it was a Spanish video in reference to Maduro giving a speech. I think it was either yesterday or Sunday, and he mentioned about the whole humanitarian aid and how from some of the Spanish I was able to get out of that, it looks like he's given approval for Russia to come in and, I guess, oversee or help with the humanitarian aid aspect. And then I just saw another article not long ago about Brazil assisting the U.S. on helping get aid across the border or something like that. So once again, we're another week of more Venezuela talks, and it looks like President Trump sent out an opportunity for the military there to basically turn against Maduro, of which I saw a video which they denounced and rejected President Trump's offer to turn their backs on Maduro. So it's more stuff going on down there, man. That's something else. But I like, one thing I do like is how on the Spanish networks, rather, Maduro's basically every day making a public plea / giving an informative broadcast as to what's really going on behind the scenes. More so just documenting and just publicizing all the events he's experiencing on his end to make it known to the public how, you know, I think that the U.S. is just playing one narrative while he himself is trying to defend the narrative on the back end. So basically just trying to build up a case so that if they end up being invaded, it'll really look bad, because he's basically saying that this is all a big farce and they're against him, not necessarily in the betterment of their country. So, but we'll see how it plays out. So it says Venezuela receiver aid from other countries. It says, hi all, James, how you doing? So actually, I want to actually pull that article up. And so while I welcome more people into the chat, I'll actually, as always, I haven't had a chance to actually thumb through many of the comments. And so I'll take a minute and just check in via the comments and see what people have been talking about in the chat section or the comment section. So this is a video here, it says about 30 minutes ago from an older video. It says the reason these countries are acquiring gold when they have a lot of other things they need to spend money on, not to mention China's debt, is that they think they all stand to gain by replacing the USD and the petrodollar as the world reserve currency. They don't want to have to buy dollars to pay for oil. Incurable romanticists. Appreciate you for sharing that. And so here's a video by Kim B about the Bolivian president. I actually watched that video, Kim, so I appreciate you sending that. And so if you guys want, I'll share that in the chat because it was quite informative as President Morales basically just gave his side of how the U.S. is really not about spreading democracy as they say they are. They're just more so playing their own agenda. So if you guys are interested in watching that video there from the UN speech from Morales, it was pretty good. And then here's a comment on regards to the Payless shoes I did last night. So I was intending to live stream when I was out, but didn't get a chance to do it. But Payless, 2,100 stores. Every single store in the U.S. is closing. And so I roughly imagine, say, 5 employees per store equals 10,000 people that will be unemployed in the next couple of weeks, months, give or take. So just more signs of the times as to what's happening. So someone here says more gold equals more inflation. That was in regards to the video I did earlier about central banks accumulating more gold. And so not sure how they arrived at that because I'd imagine more gold is to hedge, as the article said, to hedge against financial systemic risk, which would be inflation from monetary practices with those debt-based notes of theirs. And so someone says growing your own food is like printing your own money. Ron Finley. Great info, Mike. So we got more chats here. So just want to take a minute to check in with some people here. It says 651 tons last year. Yeah, so that's a little shout out to the chat section there. So that being the case, what else is happening out here? What's going on? What's on your mind this evening? Phone lines, as always, are open, and I'll wait for some calls this evening. But in the meantime, I will go back to what's going on. It's a good question. How many Mike answers? Hope Mike answers. What was the question? What was the question? It says, any insight into why the Federal Reserve has their gold holdings earmarked at $42 since 1970s? So in Macno. Good question there. I would imagine, without even like knowing a solid, factual truth type of situation there, but after 1971, when the gold was taken off the gold standard, or we closed the gold window, if you've noticed that the word gold is no longer attached with monetary usage in the terms that it was prior to 71, where people could redeem dollars for redeem those dollars for gold. So once gold was reintroduced back into the financial system, it was introduced as a commodity. And that commodity was based upon the paper contracts, the futures, all the stuff that we are subject to now, to where I think that when it was a monetary measurement or monetary unit of value, when it was last considered, that it was pegged at $42 an ounce. And so once it came back into the financial system, it was no longer no longer a monetary instrument. It was a commodity solely. And so I'd imagine it's something to do with that, the fact they didn't want to recognize it as money. And so it became a commodity that was that received its value from the futures contracts and all of the derivative aspects that spun off from the COMEX and all those paper products that became a part of how that was traded. So that's kind of how it played out as far as why it's still that way today, because according to the financial treasury and all that stuff, that gold is not really money. It's just, as some people say, a barber's relic or whatever the central bankers or might have you believe. So it's not even money in their category. So I think on the books, when it was a monetary instrument, $42 for an ounce is what it was labeled as, and that's why they cut the ties and don't mention it as money anymore. But as we see from central banks around the world, they consider it a store of value. So that's just my thoughts on how I've observed history and the delinquency. No, I'll leave that word alone. But them decoupling gold from money, and it's no longer a monetary instrument, but a commodity. So that's my thoughts on that. So James, appreciate the super chat, my friend. It says, any thoughts on record lows of online sales in December? Any thoughts on record lows of online sales in December? So James, good point. I believe I saw an article that mentioned that I think it was some online retailers had all-time highs. And so I would imagine, without even really knowing much about that offhand, the record lows was probably on the smaller e-commerce sites, the small retail stores like some of the older ones that's going out of business anyway, like Sears and Kohl's and maybe Target, or stores like that are relatively smaller, probably are the ones that were considered of having low sales. But from what I've read in prior articles, it was Amazon, Walmart, all the big conglomerates did extremely well, according to what the mainstream media would have us to believe. So not quite sure, but definitely the brick and mortar stores and the ones associated with their small online presence, I wouldn't doubt probably didn't do the greatest, I believe, but didn't really touch that much other than just seeing some subject titles come across mainstream news. So, but good question as always. Feel free, if you have some thoughts or some suggestions on that, feel free to let me know or give me a call and chime in the chat. It says, hi Mike, how's everybody doing? Scott, how you doing, my friend? Jennifer M, hello, hand all. Spirit King says, if most people can't handle a $400 emergency, I suppose gifts aren't a priority right now. It says, the Spirit King says, Fort Knox probably has 0 gold, all gold painted props and tungsten bars, from what I hear a lot of commentators mentioning. And so I actually had a thought about Fort Knox and how just through the power of petitioning and having, what you call them thing, what's some of the things that you can have, basically, sign petitions. So if we were to get a petition going, because I want to say it's something, if it's like 20,000 signatures are raised by the American public, the White House has to acknowledge it or read it or something like that. And I was thinking about the idea of, it wouldn't be a bad idea, probably for RTD viewers, to try to put together a petition to have a public display or a public auditing where the public can actually probably take a tour of Fort Knox as like a historical monumental type of opportunity. Because once again, apart from the politicians, was it 40, 50 years ago, however long it might have been, they were the last ones to actually go through those, go through the hallways and glance through the cages at some of the bars, but not actually able to touch them, pick them up or whatnot. So Rob S. had 100,000 signatures. Okay, that's a lot more than 20,000. So 100,000 signatures. And so my question to you guys is, do you think that will be a noble or worthy cause through the alternative media space? Because I imagine that if we were to get a petition going and attempt to get some signatures, I would imagine a lot of other alternative media channels might be willing to support that cause, to where, depending on some of these channels we have out here, we could probably get 100,000 electronic signatures, within a week if need be. But then it's just a matter of, okay, get into the White House, and would they actually take it serious? And that's something I would be curious to find out, because I think that as a way, most people don't really know about Fort Knox anyway, but in the alternative media space, we know Fort Knox and what it was sold to the American public as being the storehouse of Americans' gold holdings. Home Rocks, right on time. So Home Rocks got the petition. And so, thumbs up in the chat right now for those that have tuned in and aware of what we're talking about. Do you think the petition aspect might work? So here we got a link from Home Rocks. Appreciate that. And so give you an idea as to what's going on here. I get a chance to check it out too. It says, we the people, your voice in the White House. It says, petition the White House on the issue that matters to you. Create a petition. How petitions work. It says, 1, create a petition. 2, gather signatures. 100,000 signatures in 30 days. Get an official update within the White House within 60 days. Sign a petition. So, here we have other petitions, repeal the NFA. And so they actually have, it says, impeach Nancy Pelosi for crimes of treason. So they actually got 181,000 signed petitions. So I wonder, with these petitions, do they actually just, do they glance at them? Do they actually consider it? Or how does that, what's the process after you get 100,000 signatures? Because here's a couple. Donald Trump resign as president of the United States in violation of tumultuous clauses. Release your tax returns. It says India's, man, so stop the collective connection of South Africa. So it looks like a lot of people have been petitioning, but the question is, has it done any good? So Home Rocks, I appreciate you sending that. And so I have another super chat. I want to see what that one's about. It says, James, another one. Appreciate that, my friend. It says, people don't have 400 yet. We spend money like crazy. Are we really bankrupt, or are we spoiled as a nation? This reflects in our politicians. Yeah, so, man, that's a great point, man. I think it's a little bit of all that, because we definitely are in the land of opportunity to where we are extremely spoiled. And on the back end of that, for those that are able to make a decent living or rise above or rise outside of their upbringing and consider doing well in society, priorities, man. I think a lot of people's priorities are not what we might think would be ideal, given the fact that we're spoiled. So a lot of people have probably more than they actually need or you can use. And so that's just, living in a frivolous society where we're bombarded with opportunities to consume all these cheap gadgets and small little widgets, and everything to us comes basically at a very discounted rate, considering the fact that everybody imports stuff here and we just export debt notes for the time being. So I do believe that will change in the days ahead as more people and more nations unfortunately turn their backs on accepting treasuries and holding the reserves and holding those things in the reserves, as well as accepting dollars. So things will change and prices will go up, I believe. So I got a couple of thumbs up here. It says, Mike, a petition is meaningless if they aren't required to oblige, and I believe only congressmen can visit, so take them into consideration. Spirit, good point. Tony got a thumbs up. Says, best thing we can do is back Trump first. Jose, back him first. True. Now we can touch on that a little bit. And so Jose, when you say back Trump first, and so we got this wall situation, we got this intervention in Venezuela, we got what else? There's still troops in Syria. I read an article from, I think it was Sputnik, that several dozen people were killed by a U.S.-led coalition strike or something like that. So, here's my thing: is what exactly, apart from this wall, is like Trump's primary obligation right now for this country? Like, he ran on "Make America Great," and he's talking about defending the border from terrorists, from illegal immigrants. Definitely all noble causes, but yet that's been a fight that's been going on for quite a while now, but it's never been of urgency like it is now under his watch. So what exactly are we going to back? Like, what is it? Can somebody list in the chat for me 1, 2, 3 ABC? What exactly is Trump like? What is he running on? What is the three things that can really make America great right now that he's actually made public and actually looking to accomplish before his term is up right now? So if people got some thoughts on that, I would love to find out your top three things that President Trump is doing at this current moment that we would consider his efforts of making America great again. I'm curious to find out. It says White House petitions only require they to literally look at. They don't even have to requirements or actions forced by law. Yeah, that's true. Mike N says, I really think now that Trump was elected, not really elected to bring down the U.S. economy, because Hillary Clinton never really went to Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, or Wisconsin. That could be some serious stuff there. Thanks for sharing that. It says, little e does not matter. It's paper, monopoly money. Bankruptcy is an illusion only. What else? It seems like China is becoming an empire, already saddling several countries with debt, no end in sight. Empires will continue. Maggie, empires will continue as long as there's confidence inside and the economy flows correctly, the political structure is sound, and there's no war. Because based upon all the prior empires that ended, too much debt, too many broken promises led to mistrust in the population, uprising against government, and then the government, in order to divert attention, went to war with somebody else to try to rally the country, and they end up losing their reserve status, a currency reserve status, because they hyperinflated all the currencies. Every single empire, according to the last several hundred years, referring to the nations that had the reserve currency for that period of time, they all hyperinflated their currencies away, which led to the ushering of a new empire. Is how we kind of took over from the UK when after the war. All their gold came over here. They had issues with the British pound. Here we are today, some years later. So good stuff there. And I missed a super chat again. Did I? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. James, my friend, I appreciate you. You know, you're showing a lot of love this evening, man. I appreciate you for being a blessing to the channel. Says, thanks for being vocal about your faith in God. James, I appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, everything. I mean, you know, faith you can't escape. It's your foundation of who you are as a person. So whether you're willing to speak about it openly or not, it reflects on how you live your life and how people perceive you. Because if you're a liar, if you're a thief, if you're shady, you know, that's just a true indicator of who you are down to the core. And that's unfortunate that a lot of people have that type of personality / character traits, but yet would still say they are believers in Christ when Christ don't really get down like that. But that's a whole other subject matter. It says, why are you anti-socialism? Why are you anti-socialism? America's built on socialism and capitalism mix. E. Little. Good question there. So E. Little, let me ask you a question. Why am I anti-socialist? Why am I against socialism? Tell me what are some of the benefits of socialism, and then I can probably better answer your question there as to why I'm anti-socialism. Because in better understanding what exactly you mean by how socialism and capitalism have been a good mix, I can probably, you know, share with you my thoughts on that as to why I'm anti-socialism, or because somebody actually, you know, informed me that they think I'm more of a socialist than I am anything else. So, you know, to each his own. No harm, no foul. But I'm curious as to your thoughts as to the mixture. But when it comes to socialism and where we're currently heading now with this, as I mentioned from the State of the Union address, all those white coats, which are more socialistic in regards to just pro-government, like those individuals. My biggest problem with the current political structure and where it's heading, because it's bigger government, less privacy, more dependence upon the same individuals and the same school of thought that put us in the same predicament we're in now. So for the same political party, left or right, whatever, that created the problem, to then give me a solution for the problem, only puts them in a greater position of authority over my life already from something that they created that was clearly not going to work. Because how can an entity that brings nothing of value into existence give people things labeled as free or discount or benefits? How can, you know, like it doesn't work. It hasn't worked, and it won't work, in my opinion. But we have a call, so let's find out what's going on the air. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Make sure. I think I lost the call. Feel free to. I think I lost you. Give me a call back, and I'll get you on here. I apologize. I clicked answer, but you might have hung up. But anyway, go from there. So yeah. So I appreciate the question. Feel free to chime in some more. Okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. Tim, Colorado.
Tim, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind this evening?
Good. Hey, first shout out to Tony. I like his comments.
Yeah,
and why not socialism or communism, Mike? Hey, we wouldn't even have to work. It's all for free, right?
That's where it's going. That's where it's heading. But yet, me personally, I don't think there's much reward in something being given to you outside of the pleasure of creating and bringing something into existence that gives you that feeling of meaning and purpose with your life. I mean, I want purpose for my life, but I'll take a free check. I'm gonna just put it to use in something else that holds value. But I prefer.
I'm just messing with you,
I know. I prefer to work with my hands, my friend. How you been doing, Tim?
I agree with you. Yeah, it's a lot more satisfying. Okay, so do we live? I'm just winging it here. Okay, do we live in a? Are we in a tyrannical society, imperialistic, socialist, democratic, republic? What are we?
Well, I've heard all of those words mentioned in relation to some part of society in this day and age. So depending on who you're talking to or what political angle you take or what party you vote for, you can find one of those schools of thought and ideologies in some form of fashion. But at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to government having more of a say over our lives than we would like, and that's going to be an issue. So it's basically pick your poison.
Yeah, but what were we established as, and what would actually allow free capitalism? We don't have a free market, obviously.
Yeah.
What was the Constitution?
Well, to my knowledge, we were a republic. And so, given the fact that we're far away from that, I'm not even. This is before my time, but yet to hear democracy but what I've gathered from democracy, based upon what I've observed that our country has imposed upon the world, I'm not sure democracy is even a viable political structured ideology these days, because it looks like more like terrorism to me that we imposing upon the world. But that's just my thoughts there. So. Democracy.
No. Very well said, and you're dead on. But it works as a great tool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works as a great tool.
We can always manipulate the system.
Yeah, and we can say we're spreading peace and prosperity and use democracy as our cover-up for basically robbing and killing and stealing and everything we already do, man. So, yeah. That's
right. Hey, if we're going to kill 500,000 people to save a couple, so be it.
That's what it looks like.
You keep up the great work, okay? And keep up having on you've had fantastic guests.
Thank you, sir.
So
appreciate you.
We appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good evening, man. Yeah, man. The land of the free. Great call. Appreciate you calling in, Tim. What's else is going on in the chat here? I want to find out some more thoughts on a petition. So for those that might be jumping in late, I talked about, would it be worthwhile signing a petition so that the American public can have a chance to tour Fort Knox. And actually, because Fort Knox is a part of our history, maybe even though it's not really taught or preached or people aren't told exactly why it exists anymore. And so those that are in the know are told that there's gold in there. And we still use that same number, 8,300 something tons. And I guess in the last 100 years, we haven't added to it or taken away from it, supposedly. So, yeah. So is it a petition worth signing? And will it help at the end of the day? Because I would love to tour Fort Knox myself. And so Face Value says, Sean from SGT went full retard today. I'm a fan, but I didn't catch him, so I don't know what retard means. So I just must miss a call. Caller, feel free to call back. I clicked enter, and I think it disappeared. It dropped on me. But give me a call back, and I'll get you on here, my friend. It says, neither capitalism nor socialism exist in a free market. They are two sides of a Hegelian dialect. Hegelian dialect. Man, people get deep tonight. Getting deep tonight. It says, you are free people of America's nation with sovereign authority. All right, we got a caller here. Let's find out what's going on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hello? Hi there.
Hello?
Yes, are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, hello, Mike.
How you doing?
Spirit King.
Spirit King, how you doing, my friend?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We can hear you. Go ahead. What's on your mind this evening?
I can't hear you.
I can hear you. You're good to go. If you can see, if you're watching as well, you're good to go to share what's on your mind.
Oh, now I'm hearing you.
Okay.
This is Spirit King.
Yes, sir.
And following the conversation, I just wanted to say a couple things.
Yeah, go ahead. What's in your mind?
First, the United States is not a democracy, it's a republic.
Okay, that's yeah. Go ahead.
In a democracy, the majority of the people elect their leader. But in the United States, you vote to the electoral college.
Electoral college.
Yes. They have no obligation at all to vote in anyone. So there have been votes for Mickey Mouse, literally. So if they wanted, they could, I don't know, make Hillary president in the next election, even though she wouldn't even run in this scenario. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's why you are not democracy.
Okay.
And this is linked to the socialism talk you were having before.
Yeah.
Because in my view, socialism is necessary as a mix with capitalism to ensure democracy and freedom. Okay? Because if you have an unregulated capitalist system, there is nothing to stop prices from rising and wages from going lower. The philosophy behind capitalism is that if something is too expensive, you will look for a cheaper alternative. But what if all healthcare is too expensive? What if all housing is too expensive? What happens is very simple. People can't afford it, but they don't have a choice. So a monopoly will be born, and that company will control everyone's lives. Okay? So you need some socialism so that people can refuse, they are able to refuse a certain job that doesn't pay well, so they can take time to educate themselves, so they can be free from the essentials of life.
Right. Okay. Now let me share a thought. Like, so you say socialism, capitalism they're needed to counterbalance one another, and so based upon the healthcare aspect you mentioned. And so one of the problems, just in hearing that thought, when it comes to socialism and heavy government intervention and influence, then we're going to have, more so like based upon what's happening now, excessive regulation to where the government's going to get involved in that particular sector, the health industry, and they're going to impose what private corporations should and shouldn't do, which takes away the incentive and the free market aspect of competitive nature of different healthcares competing against each other, to where you're gonna have a monopoly and prices go sky high for sure then, because of government saying that this company can't do this, they can't do this, they can't do this. But what about a free market society when and you got 10 or so companies competing for your business, to where the only way they're going to win is by giving you the best service and the best price?
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just preface this with a little detail.
Okay.
In America, you have a different view of the political scale that goes from the left to the right. You see someone like Bernie, and you call him a communist or a socialist. But in my country, or anywhere in Europe, essentially, he is center-left. Okay, and there's a difference between a socialist system and a center-left system. In fact, there are many center-left systems. In a socialism, healthcare would be nationalized, and it is, as you said, states would control everything. There would be no capitalism to be had in there, and that's a little bad. That's why we talk about a mix in socialism and capitalism. And what AOC is proposing is exactly what I have in my own country. And what they did was essentially create a national insurance company that's single payer. Okay, because that insurance company as everyone in that country, it obviously has strong negotiating powers. So they can force the big pharma to lower prices and make compromises, and that's how they work. They work literally as an insurance company. So in my country, everyone pays Social security, like in the United States.
Yeah.
And you can go to an hospital or a private clinic and use that national insurance. But at the same time, I also have private insurance, sometimes bought by me, sometimes even me by my employer. So you have both systems. The single payer is only to ensure that people have a choice.
Yeah.
Because if you read the news about the United States, you see those cases like people hit by trains and they scream, "Don't call an ambulance because I can't pay." And AUC's proposal and single payer essentially solves that. Yes, there will be times, there will be problems, it's not a perfect system, but at least, even if a person has to wait 8 months for a teeth operation, but they can wait 8 months. Right now, if you don't have money in the United States and you have a tooth infection, you are dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Well, hey, Spirit, man, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts and your experiences based on your country. So definitely, I think it's one of the things where we can probably continue to talk further. But yeah, I think socialism, like, you know, it's coming in a more outright and open time space here. So we're going to actually be a part of an experience, whether or not it's going to be ideal for us or not. So. But as always, man, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts in your dialect and the email as well. So I appreciate you, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Everyone in the chat.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, man, good stuff, man. I like how people, especially Spirit, you know, from his angle, has experienced socialism, capitalism, all in the same environment, and is able to share his thoughts on why it can work together and things of that nature. So, great stuff there, man. Appreciate you. Got another call here. Hello, caller. Oh, I lost him. Give me a call back. I'll get you on here. For whatever reason, when I click answer, sometimes it drops. But anyway, it's all gravy. Let's keep the party moving. And what's happening in the chat over here? It says, without freedom, we have only death. And so it says, any name on a system that humans have created that the majority have been controlled by the minority. Basement awaken. So yeah, you know, in my opinion, based upon where we're at now and democracy as we are experiencing it now, appears to be the best form of governance that man has come up with to date. But it's still not. Man, I lost another call. Once again, give me a call. I'll get you on here. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm hitting answer and it drops. I downloaded a new version of the app, so I apologize for that. But just give me a call back. I'll get you on here. But democracy is man's best attempt of self-governance. But yet, as we can tell, we've created a lot of problems, and we're still trying to solve these same problems with the same level of thought that got us into these problems, where there's no viable solution to mankind's problems under the same school of thought / same mindset that created these problems. Because think about this. In this current country, we all know that the national debt just reached 22 trillion. And will probably be 23 trillion by the end of this year. And so that's just man's best attempt to run a government, or whatever we call ourselves doing with that thing. And so we all know, we all can be in agreement on this current model of unlimited debt has to come to an end. So what will be man's best option or solution? And so someone commented and actually sent me a message on Facebook about a new theory, or a readjusted theory called MMT, Modern Monetary Theory. And so I've been reading up on it a little bit. And so basically it's a different spinoff of a different type of government control, that's saying the government can print as much money as they want and just increase taxes along the way to kind of counterbalance it, to where there's no reason why government can't print as much money as they want, which is what we're doing now. So they haven't raised taxes yet the way they would need to counterbalance that. So once again, that's man's best attempt to try to come up with this next policy implementation from the fiscal side as a result of the monetary side. So who pays for MMT? You will, Tony, because your taxes is going to go up. They're going to expand the monetary base, but also go up on taxes. So I don't know what that looks like or how that's going to work, but that's what economists and, you know, people who went to the Ivy League schools are saying is probably the best thing for us to do in this next economic downturn, or to help stave off the next economic downturn and come up with more, because we're not going to ever be able to balance a budget because our debt-based monetary system. So this is the result of man's best attempt to hell, I don't know what to call it. I mean, but it's what we have now. So I'm sorry, I don't have too much confidence in these elected officials solving the problems that their colleagues and their Ivy League buddies and secret society and you know, secret groups came up with to enslave humanity off of debt. So that's just me, man. Maybe I'm going a little too far with this, but that's just my thoughts. Let me know if I'm far off or if I'm somewhere near home base. It says people love socialism when they need it, but if someone else other than me needed it, it's a problem. Yeah, man. And so here's the thing, and I could be wrong, but let's play along with this. When it comes to socialism, as it's being referred to now, big government, more promises, and less freedom for the most part. Excuse me. Because if we all were, say, business owners, if everybody was a business owner directly, and they made their funds off of providing goods and services to the world, we wouldn't be so friendly with socialism, because in order to fund socialism, that typically means taxing the rich and pointing at the productive people of society, the business owners, the people who create massive amounts of value and sell it or whatever, high skill set individuals. Those are the people who contribute more to society. So it's good to say that most people, if you were a business owner or a highly productive person, high income earner, you wouldn't necessarily follow or placate towards socialistic type policies, because that means you're imposing taxes upon yourself. And so it's only those that are, oh my goodness, man, I dropped another call. So what I'm gonna do is, it must be this upgraded this app. So the next call, let me go ahead and answer on my phone. I'm gonna just do it this way. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Give me 1 second, Craig. I hear you. Let me make an adjustment on my end. Hey there, Craig. How you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. I've been wanting to weigh in, but I just hadn't been able to, because you have more important discussions that you address.
Okay. Well, no, any topic is worthy of discussing, man. I appreciate you calling in.
Well, the thing that I want to discuss was the wall issue that we have.
The wall issue. Okay, go ahead.
And a lot of people have to understand that wall is tied to America's history.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you have to what I'm getting at is that before we had illegal aliens, we had undocumented workers.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hear echo back there.
It probably on. Let me see here. Are you listening to the show as you're talking, or?
No, I'm actually sitting in my truck.
Okay, so it's good on my end, so I apologize for the echo. Let me move back the speaker up some, but go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing with the labor force is coming from Mexico,
mm-hmm.
is they enable the smaller farmers to manage and maintain their farms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, with them being gone, that leaves them open. They leave them open to be taken over by larger mega farmers.
Yeah.
And it's a potential land grab.
Yeah, I agree.
And at the same time, manipulating the food prices.
Yeah. And so watch this. So the current undocumented workers that's already here, that's employed on these farms illegally or legally, however that goes. And so so are we saying that based upon how this wall situation is handled will determine their citizenship potential or status because of the whole DACA aspect, and they might be deported, or the wall will pretty much keep out any foreigners coming in at this current moment, which appears to be, whether they say it's a crisis or not, how many ever people are en route now, I don't know. I don't see it down there directly myself. But the current workers here, are they in jeopardy is what you're getting at?
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that's making them fear for their life, and they're not going out and attending the fields.
Yeah.
So that puts a strain on the smaller farms.
Yeah.
And that could push some of them to bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yep. And so I can understand that, my friend. That's definitely an issue. So, what, in your opinion, what are some things that President Trump or this administration in general, or whoever the homeland of agriculture can work on to alleviate this problem, or is it something that's inevitable?
Well, they can slow it down, but it's going to collapse anyway. And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to revise the whole immigration process, how they do it. And that includes the H-1 visas, because you have people from Italy and other parts of Europe that come and man the higher-end jobs like engineering, some nursing jobs.
Yeah.
And they come here, and some of them overstay their visas. So they're going to have to overhaul their whole system to where it can work with our economy better and dial this decay down back some. It's got to be dialed back.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, and that's the thing. Like, so the immigration process and revamping that and the reform aspect of that will take quite a while. That'll take a long time to just come up with something that will be sustainable, doable, and possible in a short time frame. Which it's good to say. I don't believe it's going to happen anytime soon, even though it's needed. But that's one issue that needs to be reformed amongst many others. So, but we'll see, man. But I appreciate you calling and sharing what's on your heart, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, man. That's some good stuff there, man. I appreciate you calling and sharing that thought. The immigration aspect. Yeah, man, there's so many different issues that are all being tested right now. You know, as I was hinting at the whole debt situation, not being able to have a budget ever increasing debt, that's an issue. So there's going to be some type of reform needed, or we're going to have to deal with the consequences of the day that the world no longer wants and accepts our debt notes and everything else associated with us. That's going to be a hell of an issue to deal with at that time. So hopefully, there's some options prior to. And so that's the importance of having precious metals as well as whatever else you consider an alternative to preserving your wealth, because we're already in uncharted waters with this excessive debt. And so I'm going to go back to that debt clock briefly, and then we're going to get ready to dial things back a little bit. But just looking at this debt clock here, we got 22 trillion. And I actually came across an article that I'm going to share. And for those that have not, make sure you guys check out the RTD blog, because every day I'm putting articles and videos. But I saw a article that said that the 22 trillion, our national debt that we know about, is not even bad in comparison to what we don't see. And that's off balance sheets. That's off the balance sheet liabilities of all the unfunded liabilities, where it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, federal pensions, all this stuff in this section right here. All these things in this section right here is what's coming to roost pretty soon. And we're going to have some issues to deal with that sooner than you can expect. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you?
I'm doing good. Tony from Oakland. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Not too bad. Well, the wall order, the immigration that's out there. Yeah, that.
You're breaking up on me.
I said we got a lot of things out.
Yeah. That we do. How do we solve it, Tony?
Yeah. Let's start off, and I think I can manage through it. We'll start off with national emergency. It is my feeling that done, but you have to realize that there is open border system now that is closed up after the court.
So Tony, one second. Are you on a cell phone, because it's jumping in and out as you talk?
I am actually on the home.
You on a home phone? Okay, so it must be something on my wire because I switched from an app to a different carrier. But anyway, keep going because it goes in and out. But yeah, I get the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah, so you know this. I think it's just a setup. Happen is China start. I did see that to firm up the yuan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about what about the yuan?
And on this, say again.
So what did you say about the yuan? It dropped out when you said something about the yuan.
The U.S. has asked to firm up the yuan.
Okay.
And so I on this together. It's just a matter of ending that's going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah, and hard and painful at that. Yeah.
I agree, but you're on the right. Get your weight up.
Yeah, get your weight up, man. Get your weight up. Yeah, so good point, man. Good point as always, man. I appreciate you. And so as always, for those that probably have, reason I haven't been doing videos because I've been working on this the RTD Gold team. So I personally myself am making sure to get my weight up and help other people do so. So for those that are interested, let me know or check the link down below and join the team, man. So we're gonna try to put more weight in people's hands, man, in an automated sense. So I'm looking forward to helping out people. But Tony, my friend, I appreciate you calling, my friend.
No worries, man. You have a good night, man.
Thank you. Be good.
Bye.
Yeah, man. I missed the call, and so, man, just, technology, man, everything. Got to make adjustments on the fly. I missed the call. Feel free to call in, but we're going to get ready to dial back in a second. But as always, man, it's good to connect with everybody again and to see what's going on out here. And I know it's a lot of activity in the chat, so I missed a lot. I apologize if you guys had questions that I wasn't able to get to. Got the last call, and then we're going to call it in for this evening. And then tomorrow night, I have a guest joining me. I'll talk about that in a second. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, how you doing tonight, man? I'm calling from Michigan.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
JR.
JR. Calling from where again?
Michigan.
From Michigan. All right. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind this evening?
I just had a quick question, man. Just something in my mind I've been thinking about.
All right, go ahead.
I really think you need to bring back slavery and niggers.
Okay, it's kind of mumbled. Bring back what now?
Slavery and hang niggers.
Okay, but we're already currently in that now, so it's called monetary slavery.
we have to hang more black people, bring back slavery, love owning black people, and fuck niggers.
All right, so okay, I don't think that's going to be something that would make much sense because, as I mentioned before, we're already currently in a newer form of slavery that everyone's involved in, and it's not a racial issue or a color thing. It is a color thing, and it's green. So actually, the new form of slavery we're in now has to do with this thing right here. So if this is what you depend your life upon, which most of us do, you're already caught up in it, my friend. So, but appreciate you for sharing that thought, though. Definitely, that's a good subject matter, just not relevant to the form of slavery that is of importance. So, with that being the case, people, that is it for this evening. It's been great, as always, catching up with everybody, man, and appreciate you guys chiming in. More important, if you guys have been enjoying the back and forth, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. Show some love in the video part so people can find out what's going on here, and we can get more people connected into the community. And then, and on another note, for those that have already joined the Gold team, I appreciate you for doing such, as well as those that I haven't gotten back to just yet. I'll definitely connect with you. And so for those that are interested, what I've been doing, as you see here, I got a 1 gram gold bar in my hand in the form of weight. This is true money here. So if anybody has interest in joining the team and helping other people get their weight up, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to rethinkingthedollar.com/gold team, or just click the link down below, and I put together a little bit of information as to why I personally am doing this and how I automate things to where it just comes to me, so I don't got to worry about it. So I think that's easier. But anyway, with that being the case, as always, people, be back tomorrow night. Got a guest joining us, Giant Bandari, who's a gentleman who I had on a couple times before. So he's an international guy, investor, well connected. So he's joining us tomorrow night at 9:30. So definitely come back and have some questions And so he's of Indian descent, so he's going to share with us what's happening out in his region over there, as well as everything he's involved in the country here. So he's a international traveler. So other than that, it should be a good time tomorrow night. Anyway, so that's what it is, people. Appreciate you for joining in. See you guys later. Enjoy your evening. Peace.